What are you most excited about over the next 20 years? What do you think will be the major transformations? How will Facebook transform? How do you think the rest of the world will transform?
So we have this 10-year roadmap
Yeah, it was
of
great.
3 of the big changes that we want to see in the world. And we're focused on 3 things. Connectivity, right? So getting everyone in the world on the internet. Right now more than half the world is not on the internet, which is, I think a lot of people in Silicon Valley probably take this for granted, right? The internet, because it just is not uniformly available. And if we want to solve a lot of the big challenges of the world today, they're not problems that any one group of people or even one country can solve, right? They really involve coming together and giving everyone an opportunity to participate in solving them. So I think connecting everyone is really a key thing, which is going to be great for people around the world. The next one is AI. I think that's just going to unlock so much potential in so many different domains. And we use it at Facebook for a lot of different things, for showing people content that they're going to find more meaningful, for making sure that you connect with the people you actually care about on the service. But in a lot of ways, the work that we're doing on AI to push the fundamental state-of-the-art forward is exactly the same stuff that's going into systems that diagnose diseases better, right? Or find better drugs to treat people, or that other companies are using when they build self-driving cars. And these are things that are going to save lives, right? I mean, if you can, I heard this story recently that at this conference where someone has built a machine learning application where you can take a picture of a lesion on someone's skin, and it can detect instantly whether it's skin cancer with the accuracy of the best dermatologists and doctors in the world. So, who doesn't want that, right? I mean, now, you're going to be able to put the power in your doctor's hand to become the best doctor in the world at that thing. Everyone will be the best doctor in the world. And that's a really fundamental thing, right? That, I get a little bit frustrated, I think, when people, fearmonger about AI and how it could end up hurting people, because I think in many real ways around diseases, around driving more safely, I mean, this is going to save people's lives and push people forward. So that's a really big deal, I think, for the next 10 years. And then, the next thing that I always think is going to make a big difference is, every 10 or 15 years, there's a new major computing platform that comes around that allows people to do completely different things than they could do before, right? So, 20 years ago, most of us were using desktop computers. They were kind of clunky. We used them in work because it made our work more productive, but most people didn't use them for fun. Now we have phones, which help us connect with each other, and they're much more human devices. But there's going to be another platform after that, and I think that's going to be virtual reality and augmented reality. And that, I think, is just going to help people, be more creative, experience what other people are feeling much more immersively than we even can through video and things like that today. So I'm really excited about that trend as well. Yeah, so if you look at the kind of broad history of technology, we get these new major technology platforms every 15 years or so, and each one delivers a more immersive experience and allows us to communicate with the people and businesses and things that we care about around the world with just higher fidelity. And when I look at what we have today, on our phones, phones are pretty amazing, right? You have this incredibly powerful computer in your pocket, but it's not the end of the line, right? And there's all these things that I think are not that good about it, right? It pulls you away from the world around you. It's anything but immersive, right? It's a small screen. So the question that I've been asking is, what's the next wave of technology, and what's the next platform going to be, and what's that going to deliver for how we all connect? And for me, the essence of virtual and augmented reality is that you need to have a technology that delivers this feeling of presence, right? The sense that you're actually right there with another person and all the different sensations that come with that normally, right? Not just seeing someone on a screen, but having the spatial audio, so it sounds like if someone's standing over there, the audio is coming from there. Having it so that you can kind of if you're interacting with them and you have an object, you can pass them the object, right? And it's kind of real time and there's no latency. Our eyes refresh every 5 or 10 milliseconds. So, having it so that you can have this whole 3D world and what other people are doing render in real time faster than that. So it just feels real. I think that that's different, right? In every other type of technology platform that we've had, game consoles on TVs, computers, you get some pretty amazing software, but you're basically trying to convince your brain the whole time that you're in a different context than you actually are when you're really just kind of sitting on your couch or your desk. VR and AR are the first platform where it really just convinces your system that you're in a different place. You almost have to try to convince yourself to snap out of the reality sometimes and realize, hey, this actually isn't real. I'm in a different physical place. But that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So there's a long line of technology that we need to develop to fully deliver that sense of presence. But I think that that's really what we're in the business of doing with the Oculus virtual reality product lines and with the augmented reality glasses that we're working on over the coming years, is just how do we deliver that sense of presence and connection for people?
Yeah, I think that I like that train of thinking. A question I get asked a lot is like, I do video now on YouTube, and my goal is always to make the highest quality video possible. So like I can put a product in front of you and it looks as realistic as possible, almost like you're holding yourself. But what's the next version of that? Maybe the next version of tech reviews 10 years into the future after its YouTube videos? And my natural answer has been, I think VR makes the most sense. If I could literally kind of like put you in my shoes, then you'll feel like you're in the car that I'm driving or holding the phone that I'm holding. Is that a dumb answer? Have I been giving a good answer this whole time?
I mean, I certainly agree with that, but our company is probably investing the most in virtual and augmented reality of anyone else in the world. So, yeah, I mean, I would hope that 10 years from now or 5 years from now, people will have a relatively sleek pair of goggles that they can put on and basically transport into your studio where you are. And instead of just holding up the phone in front of you like you just did, they could grab it, that you can hand it to them, and they can play with it and kind of experience that themselves. Or maybe the lighter weight version of that would be augmented reality, which I think you're still gonna have to go into some kind of different mode to want to put on sunglasses or goggles and have that fully immersive virtual experience for virtual reality. But I think augmented reality, once that hits and you have a normal pair of glasses that, good looking kind of normal glasses, not anything that's super thick or anything like that, and that can last all day long but can project holograms into the world, then you'll be able to do a version of your show where your hologram can just show up on my couch right here, and you can hand me the phone, and I can kind of take the phone as a hologram and play with it like that. One kind of trippy thing that I think about that's further out is once we have really good, mature AR glasses, we won't even necessarily need other kinds of screens anymore, right? Things like TVs, tablets, all these things could just be digital holograms, and could be apps that some kid halfway across the world in some other place makes, and you'll be able to get completely kind of new designs for things like TVs in kind of different kinds of shapes that are not like the regular thing that Samsung can make in their factory. And I think that there's just going to be a crazy amount of creativity that gets unlocked and a lot of innovation when a lot of stuff that physically today has to be produced in a factory, which obviously most people don't have access to doing that, can just get turned into an app that can be a hologram that you can give to someone. I think that that's going to be wild. So I'm really excited about it, and that's why we're just so focused on this, and we have thousands of people working on this at Facebook, because I just do think that this is going to be the next major computing platform, even if it takes several years to get there.
Right. And so do you see like a world maybe where screens or displays are sort of a past where you literally can project with AR? If the tech is good enough, you can just hold like a rock or whatever, like a very simple, inexpensive object, and with your AR turn it into a screen, if that makes sense?
The real thing will always have somewhat amount of more fidelity than you'll be able to get with with augmented. Like haptics are one area where you want to feel something. You pick up a rock or an object and it kind of has more weight. That's kind of hard to model. But I do think we're going to get other senses through augmented and virtual reality that may not be possible in the physical world. So let's say, for example, okay, I'm kind of feeling around at my desk and my hand is getting close to a water bottle. Right, today you don't feel the water bottle until you touch it, but it's possible in AR or VR that we can provide some kind of sense. So as you start getting close to an object, you start feeling some kind of resistance or some sense that you're near something, which of course is how some other animals navigate the world through sonar and different things like that, getting a sense of different. So I think it's going to be pretty wild. I think a lot of new things are going to be possible. It's not that it's going to replace all physical things, of course not. A lot of things you still need to be physical, but a lot of different types of media, books, games, different things that people have, TVs. It's not actually clear that in the future those all need to be physical objects anymore. I think a lot of them, if you're sitting next to me, your hologram is here with me, and maybe another friend is kind of sitting next to you on the couch, hologrammed in from somewhere else, and we want to play a game of cards, and I can just kind of snap, and here's a virtual deck of cards, and I can hand them out. Right? It's like I just think that that's going to be pretty wild. So I think that that's going to be really powerful. But there's obviously a lot more technology that we need to develop before we can get there.